Kayla, that was so much fun getting to tour of this property.
I love this.
Property.
I mean, do you see the creeks out there, all the woods? I mean, it is beautiful. I've never seen a more beautiful property in Fort Wayne.
Those barns are my favorite.
I do love the barns. Of course you would love the barns too. It is pretty awesome.
Nature that was out there. The best part, we're going to preserve a lot
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
The lots.
So pretty. And talk about lots. The size of these lots, they're humongous.
They really are. I was out here with our engineer just a few weeks ago, and we drove around. You will not believe the topography and also the size. Some of these lots are over 200 feet deep.
And with that 200-foot depth, we are going to be able to put in auxiliary dwelling units. Fancy new word that they have here, but that's basically a secondary home on your house lot that you have there, or really fancy outbuildings.
Well, I love the location. We're near things, but you can get to the highway easily, but it feels like you're in the middle of the country.
Yeah, you know, Lonnie and I have been developing for 25 years, and Lonnie, I don't think we've ever seen a more beautiful, more perfect subdivision and community in my lifetime.
I agree.
Well, welcome to a special edition of Between the Studs. I think you're going to want to stay tuned. There is a lot of really fun, great new information to talk about today.
As many of our Between the Studs fans might remember, about 2 years ago, we started filming for the process of our newly built model home, the Monaco, and it is located in Shadow Creek, but I can't believe we filmed that starting about 2 years ago.
It's been 2 years?
I can't believe, but it was a really fun process.
It was 2 years ago. It was over 20 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It was 10,000 square foot, a magnificent house.
Magnificent, stunning.
Wow, that was really bad. And also, guess what? 10,000 square feet. More than 10,000 people have been through that thing.
That's right. And we heard after our grand opening 10 months ago, we heard from all of you 10,000 visitors how much you enjoyed watching the process of us building that magnificent home.
Thank you.
And we have a big announcement for all of you, our fans. We've decided to go through all of this again. But it's going to be bigger and better this time because we are on the cusp of just developing this land. So we're going to be able to walk you through all of what it takes to develop those lots, get the land ready for the house. We're going to do a deeper dive into the design process before we even break ground. So it's going to be really exciting.
Lonnie, you've always wanted to do development so people can see what we do and why.
Yeah,
it's a lot more than people think.
Let's get dirty.
We're going to.
And that's why we're here today. So Granite Ridge Builders is known as a custom, quality, detailed builder here in Fort Wayne, but we also develop lots and communities.
With all the amazing compliments and responses to our Monaco model, we have decided to build another spectacular model showcase home on 137 of the 176 acres of this beautiful property, and I cannot wait to see.
Is there a budget this time?
Was
that
no.
That's not
There is, we just don't know what it
I'll
is.
get back to you on that. Yep.
So we're ready for this fun-filled journey, and we invite you to join us for it.
All right, so where are we located? We are located right off of State Road 3, just north of Huntertown. The Monaco that we keep mentioning is just 3 miles about southwest that direction. So we're located right off Simon Road. You can actually see the old farmhouse as you're traveling north on Lima.
And Kayla, you mentioned this property is 137 acres that we're going to develop over here. And it's not just beautiful, guys. It is very rich in history. Now let's talk about State Road 3 a little bit. It was originally called Lima Plank Road, then turned over to Lima Road and State Road 3.
And Plank Road because it literally was made of wood planks. It went from Fort Wayne to Sturgis, Michigan, 60 miles. And we're talking about wood planks that were about 3 inches thick, 8 foot long, all the way there. That's a lot of trees.
And no electric saws.
It's a bumpy ride.
I can imagine.
You know what? I think that was black oak. Now, I don't know if anybody's heard of black oak trees, but they were prevalent back then. I think all those were black oak. Very, very impressive wood.
Well, and this property sits with a beautiful wooded tree line. There's lots of open area to get some great topography. We're going to be able to have some ponds. There's a natural creek that runs through it. It is just gorgeous.
I don't know, but I think I felt some of that topography sitting in that golf course with Luke driving.
Topography.
Safer than when Mike drives the other one.
What? So we mentioned our location is at Simon Road and State Road 3, or the Lima Plank Road. And this Simon name is very well known in this area. The Simon family was a very large family, and they have a really rich history in the Fort Wayne area.
It all started in 1836 when Solomon Simon moved with his family to Perry Township. And then in 1852, he married Mary Rhodes and they went to DeKalb County.
And you want to talk about prosperous. This family, over 225 acres just in Perry Township, 120 acres they owned in DeKalb County, and then they had some interest in 4 different lots in Leato.
Well, as you can see, since the mid-1800s, the Simon family has had a major impact in this area. There's been hundreds of descendants. They've all lived and thrived in this area. And if you go to any of the local cemeteries, you happen to see lots of Simon headstones buried there.
Yeah, because that's what I do. I go hang out in cemeteries looking at,
I have a really interesting fact. Did you know that there were so many Simons and Simon farms around this area that in Leato, that was not the original name. You know what the original name of the town was? Simon Corners. Now, another really interesting fact, we're pretty sure in this spot right here, Solomon Simon, he was about 88 years old, still lived on the farm, and he was known at that time to be the oldest pioneer in all of Allen County, probably in the Midwest. He and his wife, he died at 91, his wife died at 88. That was long back then. They had a 61 years of marriage. Pretty impressive.
That's crazy, Tony. And then according to the historical records that we found, the Simon family has lived and farmed this area throughout their entire history here, from all the way back when you were talking.
And we believe that his first house was built on this site in 1888. Wow. But his first barn was built in 1842, so we know what was more important. The cow.
That's right.
We've been very inspired by this beautiful property and all of the barns here and just the great scenery. We have decided to name the subdivision Simon Lake Estates.
And so how do we come up with that name, Simon Lake Estates? Well, clearly, first and foremost, this is the Simon farmstead. It's off of Simon Road. So there's the Simon. Now the lakes. There's going to be 5 pristine lakes/ponds spread throughout this entire development, and then estates. A lot of these lots are going to be much larger than your typical subdivision, so it's going to be more of an estate-sized lot, allowing you to put maybe some of those things we've talked about, like the accessory dwelling units, behind your house.
Well, you're talking 1.5 acres on some of these lots, so much bigger than a standard subdivision.
So currently this property has 1 modest house, but it has 5 barns, which makes sense because back then farming was your livelihood.
Well, that main barn is large. It was well built. It has a lot of history and it has some really cool support beams in it.
And that was a lot of the inspiration for what we're going to be doing. And so I think we ought to head down there to those barns and take a look at everything that's there and show people how we're going to incorporate those barns into this new area.
I like it.
Awesome.
Hey,
Luke,
I'm not driving with
Hey!
I think it's safer to walk.
We just go slow.
hang on.
No, go slow, go slow. Hey, I said go slow.
Welcome to Between the Studs. We are Granite Ridge Builders, custom home builders serving northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and also parts of southern Michigan. We've been building custom homes for more than 2.5 decades, and we're really passionate about what we do. So join us today as we explore the processes, the trends, and expert tips that characterize today's new home. Thanks for watching.
Okay, I think this is a good spot to talk about some of that inspiration and especially the barns and how important they are. But we're sitting in front of this bank barn. It's a gable roof elevation, but it had a lot of inspiration for us as we were trying to design the development here and also our new model.
And historically, the barns and the storage buildings on a farmstead were absolutely critical to the livelihood of that farming family.
And Tony, you said we drew a lot of inspiration from this barn. So when we started planning this development, our new model home, we started studying the history of barns, and it really tied into our new development and model home here.
And I really think Tony was getting tired of us coming in on Mondays after open houses saying, I'm having requests for barn dominiums. I'm having requests for barn dominiums. And even some of us studs, Tony, we need a barn dominium.
So we found a lot of interesting things about barns, especially in Indiana, when we were looking for that inspiration for our next model home. Now the Simon barn behind us is a good example of the best barns built in America.
And this barn was probably built in the late 1800s, but it was remodeled several times, probably in the early 1900s. And the reason we know that is because of the type of beams that they used.
Now this style of barn is called a bank barn. And what that means, it's a 2-story barn, and it has a pull-up kind of driveway, if you will, up to that 2nd story with a basement underneath, which is very interesting. That's why they call it a bank, because they're banking up the grass so you can get right into the barn. And building the barn into this hill, it does protect it from wind, so it's a very strong way to build this barn.
Up in the upstairs, the loft area, that's generally where they would keep grain or hay. And in fact, a lot of times that's where a family would live. That would be their living quarters until the farm was profitable enough that they could have a separate home.
And then on the lower level, that was where they had the stables for the cattle. You know, they'd have the sheep. All of the livestock would be down there. They could also then just kick that hay down. Now, what was interesting, this is also called a German barn, and a few of those were built, of course, but many of them also had stone or brick on the outside, and then they had slots in them. They knew they needed ventilation. So these barns, and then they used to call them the basement. So that was part of where these terms, the basement, comes from too.
And most of the barns built in the Midwest had a gambrel roof system. It was a broken roof system that allowed the walls, created walls actually, which allowed for more storage for hay and straw for the animals.
So let's get this straight. The barns had living quarters, they had a loft, and they had a wide open floor plan. It sounds a lot like the barndominiums, and we thought we were onto something new.
Yeah, so think about that when you design your big new model.
When my mom said I was living in a pigsty, I was just saying.
We do like these barn dominiums. In fact, we're building a lot of them right now, and they sound just like these old style barns, just minus that basement.
Basic, simple, wide open space, living area, kitchen area. They're also going to have some of the other main things that you need on the first floor. Top floor, wide open loft.
Now they are a lot more modern, and they have a lot of glass. I know some of our StudCast members are pushing for this on our 1.5 acre lot out here at Simon Lake Estates.
Well, I think we won though. I mean, I love the barn dominium, but for our main model, we've decided to go in a little different direction. But for the rest of the members, we will give them a beautiful carriage house. But we want to elevate the main house just a little bit.
It's a good compromise.
Great compromise,
Yeah.
yes.
In addition to that, we have 38 other beautiful estate-sized lots that follow this tree line around. Somebody's going to have these beautiful mature trees in their backyard.
Yeah.
Well, are we ready to go show the inside of this barn? Because that's where we have a lot of our inspiration from. So I want people to see where it's kind of coming from.
Oh, wait, Kayla. We gotta talk about, since we're talking about barns here, we have to talk about why Indiana is the round barn capital of the nation.
Yep.
In 1985, on the register, Indiana had 226 round barns.
Wow.
Now, due to aging and fire and tornadoes, it's down to 95, but it's still more than any other state.
These were known as the cathedrals of the countryside. They are such gorgeous, gorgeous buildings. But I do have a question. Why is a barn red?
Ooh. I know this one.
Ooh.
The colorblind?
You know this?
I know. So a long time ago, the farmers, as we talked about how critical the barns were, they realized that the weather was really impacting the lifespan of that barn, and they had to figure out a way to make it more weather resistant. So they started coating the wood with a linseed oil product, and linseed oil comes from flaxseed, and flaxseed has a brownish orangish color, and so therefore that's how we got the reddish color on the barns.
So it's more of a rusty red.
Yeah.
And now everybody wants their barn red because of that reason.
Yeah, and that's how it also turned into that reddish color, because farmers were not happy with just the longevity of the linseed oil, so they started mixing in lime, milk, and rust. So that lime and milk would actually help it adhere to that linseed oil and last longer. That rust color, or that rust, the iron in the rust would keep off mold and mildew, and that rust kind of gave it that more reddish color than that traditional orangey brown color.
I thought it was just pretty. Go figure.
All right, guys, let's go and show this. Now, I wonder if they painted this. Was this a red originally, you think?
Probably.
Probably.
Let's see it, ladies.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh no! I missed.
All right, guys. Hey, we got to get started. Remember,
They find a basketball hoop and turn to 12-year-olds all over.
Listen, I'm just glad
this
I
is
made
all
my
about
shot.
basketball. We have some stuff to talk about here in this
right.
amazing Simon barn.
Well, listen, they made me be Martha the mop lady from Indiana. It was not because I'm good at mopping, okay? It's because I'm the basketball queen. Yes.
True.
Now,
I thought it was because your singing voice.
that was not it either. I do love some basketball, okay? I'm a true Hoosier. And Indiana Hoosiers are known for basketball, and just like barns are known for basketball. This has a basketball hoop in it. So many barns have basketball
This is
hoops.
typical of
Yes.
every barn
Yes.
pretty much in Indiana and maybe even Ohio.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think there are more famous pictures and memories of people playing basketball in barns than anywhere else in the world.
Absolutely.
Now, guys, check this out. Tying back to the Indiana Hoosiers, this is Simon Farms. We're standing in the Simon Barn. Now, Assembly Hall got a new name a few years back. It's the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Simon Scott. Now, the Simon brothers are real estate moguls. At one point, they owned the Glenbrook Mall. And so there you can see how all that word Simon ties back to us and the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yes.
And when I think of Hoosiers, I think of the Hoosiers film,
Yes.
that iconic film, and Jimmy Chitwood, who played a lot of basketball on the barn.
Yeah, but you have to remember Larry the Legend
Oh.
for French Lick, Indiana. This is where it all started for him. He had the hoop on the outside of the barn hours and hours and hours every day.
And
And
look
it's
what
not
happened.
exclusive to just Indiana, guys. When I grew up in Ohio, I had a Larry Legend basketball hoop out on the barn.
Oh, you had Larry Legend from Indiana? Oh,
We spray painted over it with a block.
just checking, just checking.
But yeah, my dad put it up 12 foot tall. He forgot I was 6 foot and white, so I couldn't dunk on it anyway. But yeah, so we played out there too.
So now let's get back to why we're here. We have so much inspiration for this barn, and I know the designers get inspired wherever they go. Let's talk about how we've taken this and put it into our new model home. We should break apart into groups.
Okay, I think let's go twos, and we've got some really special things to say, so stay tuned.
We don't have time for one
Okay,
game
I'm
of
gonna make it
horse.
this time. I got
One
it.
game of horse.
Oh, come on.
Mike, we were talking about Plank Road, right? This is a great example of that. You've got about 3 inches deep, you got about 8 inches wide. This is a black oak. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of wood, and this is what they used to make that whole road from Fort Wayne up to Sturgis.
Another thing that I want to talk about in this barn, Tony, is this awesome ladder system that you have behind you. They didn't have box stores back then. They couldn't run to Menards or Home Depot and grab a ladder. They had to build their own ladder system to get up into the hay mow to get where they needed for feed for their animals. And one of the really cool features right inside this barn here that we can see are these structural beams in here. These are hand-hewn beams, which means that they are predating the 1900s.
That's predating this.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's really exciting about our new model home is we are going to take a lot of elements from this barn and put them into the house.
There are a lot of trends out there, but that, believe it or not, we can use so much of this material, and especially when it comes to ceiling scaping. It is one of my favorite things to do is design ceiling scaping. So for our new model, we are really excited to be able to use some of these cedar planks on ceilings, maybe even some wainscoting walls. But I mean, this material is, I feel like it's like gold. There's so many amazing things you could do with it. I can't wait to show you how our inspiration comes to life.
We're in here in the Simon barn. It's a famous barn. It's a historical barn. Now, you said that you might potentially let us do somewhat of a barnuminium style in our carriage house. What in here gives you that feeling that that's going to be our barnuminium?
Yeah, so we're gonna have a main model, but then also an attached carriage house. And I do love the barnuminium style, but we wanna keep that separate in the garage or the carriage house. And there's so many elements in this that you can take apart from it. So what we did in our carriage house is we're gonna have a loft, just like how there's these ladders going to the loft. I can't wait to incorporate these awesome ladders somewhere in the design. But then that open concept, how it's so open, it's going to be a kitchen, great room, dining space, all that you can easily get to for entertaining. And I love some of the features of these doors and how you can just have huge, magnificent doors open to the elements. We definitely incorporated things like that. So it's amazing that a barn can create so much inspiration.
Okay, you're going to be able to picture a living room here, or a living area here too.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, you spent a lot of money on the beams over in the Monaco. You said if we use all these unbelievably beautiful ones, I can save money?
Maybe there's a chance.
Let's talk about that
okay.
then. So what do you think we could save?
like in many barns, there are construction processes that are kind of unique and unusual, and we're standing right here in front of one. That's unwrapped this one, Luke. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and barns traditionally are built with a post and beam structure. But what's most fascinating, or I find most fascinating, is this entire barn was built without using a single nail. And now when we build houses, we use thousands and thousands of nails. So there are some unique joineries and some areas. As you see behind us, there's an overlapping of that beam. This beam runs all the way across this barn, 70 feet wide, and it's supporting the entire way upstairs because we're down in the basement. So that scarf overlap really helps transfer some of that weight in there. But it's not just that. We've got some tenon and mortise that are tied in there too. Now, tenon and mortise, there's basically a piece of the wood that's milled down that then fits perfectly inside the next
like
post.
A joint right there, yes.
And then there's a hole drilled through that, and then one of these pegs gets put inside of it. Now, these pegs, pretty much everything on this barn was taken right from this ground.
Yeah, and post and beam is becoming more and more popular today. And when you build your new custom home out here at Simon Farms, maybe we will build you a carriage house and incorporate some of these things. So Luke, when we talk about barn construction, let's talk about the two major types of beams, the hand-hewn and the rough sawn.
Yeah, and the hand-hewn is going to be a little bit more of an older style of beams. And the process was actually using this tool right here. It kind of looks like a garden hoe, but that's not what it is. It's an adze, A-D-Z-E. And they would actually put the log down on the ground, and they would go through with this and manually have to strip the bark.
Like take the bark off of it.
And square it up.
Square it up, okay.
Yep. And then that way they could use it for the actual framing members.
You can actually see some of the marks of the instrument.
It gives it a lot of character.
And in today's new home, we're starting to go back to some of this, so come talk to us about a beam in your new house.
Didn't you ski out of Breckenridge at all?
I sure did, but I did a little bit more falling than I did skiing.
I love this lodge look.
All right, everybody. So we need to get started here because we spent a decent amount of time out at our beautiful property that will soon become Simon Lake Estates. But this is everybody's favorite part. We need to talk about our model home that we're going to be designing for that beautiful area.
Well, we did give in to Mike a little bit. Okay? Yes, he doesn't get the whole barn dominium style, but we're going to let him have that on the carriage house that is attached to our model home. But that model home is going to be luxury at its finest.
It took me 5 years of fighting to get a garage the style that I want.
And I can't think of any other modern lodge style home in Indiana or anywhere around here. So we like to be the first and set ourselves apart.
Well, the big question is how did we come up with a modern rustic lodge style? Because it is a little bit unique, but when we saw the property and really saw how beautiful it is, all we could think about, it really is a retreat out there. It is kind of off the beaten path, but super quick to anything that you would want to get to in Fort Wayne. And we've built the Monaco as our kind of entertainment house, right? Everybody loves to entertain here, and how many wonderful things that we've done, but where do you want to go to just relax and kind of get away from things? And so that's the feel and the design style that we really decided to pick up on here.
We're calling it the Breckenridge Lodge. So where did we come up with that name, Breckenridge? Well, we all think of it obviously as someplace you go to ski.
Absolutely.
Yep. But do you guys know what the name really means? Brecken is a fern. And of course, ridge is a hill. So a fern-covered hill, Scottish would call that the Breckenridge. Now, over in Breckenridge in Colorado, they came up with it in the mining town days and thought that was a really, really good name for it, and we picked it up today.
Well, I think it's the perfect feel for what we're going to be doing to this home because we really wanted to create those natural elements. What do you think of when you're in Breckenridge? We're in the mountains, we're outside a lot, we have all of the stonework and the wood. That's what you think of, and those are the elements we're putting in this home in a very luxurious way.
Now, one feature I love about this home, and you will too, is it's one level. So the main house is all one level. There's not a lower level, so there's no stairs that you have to do in this house. And this is a sprawling house.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've come into the Monaco and they're like, okay, we want the first floor and the basement incorporated on a slab home. And so that's what we're bringing to you this year.
And you are going to see so many natural elements. So we keep talking about stone. You're going to see stone everywhere. You're going to see a big two-way fireplace between the kitchen and the great room, completely encased in stone. You're going to see stone in that primary bathroom. I mean, we are putting it everywhere we can in this house.
Well, and we talked about when we were at the barns, we want to incorporate those natural elements. There's going to be a few of the beams and hand-hewn beams and rough-sawn beams spread throughout the main home, but a lot of that style in the carriage house. One of the first inspiration pictures that we came across that really helped us design this home was a house and a carriage house connected by an overhang. So as you know, we do outdoor living really well, but it is going to be done just as well, if not better, here at the Breckenridge Lodge home, because we have a connected veranda between the house and the carriage house, so you don't have to go into the outside elements when you want to have your entertaining, when you have your guest over in the carriage house, because that is going to be livable quarters as well.
Now, the primary suite in this home is going to be fantastic. It is huge. It also has a fireplace. We're going to have 2 closets. So at the Monaco, one of the big talking points is the closet. Well, we're going to have 2 in this house in the primary suite. The bathroom is luxurious. The cabinetry will be beautiful. The soaking tub, the shower, some great ideas there as well.
A lot of stone.
A lot of stone.
A ton of stone. Now, if you've come to visit me in the Monaco, you know my favorite room is the sitting room. The sitting room in this new house is amazing. It's even larger. It's got an area for like a drawing desk or a puzzle. Yeah, you can do puzzles at it.
I'm into puzzles.
And it has a beautiful fireplace in it as well.
You're never going to leave.
No, so we've got a fireplace in the primary bedroom and a fireplace in the sitting room.
What could be better than that? We also are going to be doing 2 islands in the kitchen. That's been a long time since we've done something like that in one of our model homes, but this kitchen is going to be very luxurious. As we've said, a lot of natural elements in this home. Honestly, I don't know if there's going to be any white in this home, but it is still going to be light and bright and airy, and that's the really great thing of using all these natural materials. We're going to have light woods, dark woods, lots of stain elements out there, and I'm really excited to kind of bring a classic thing back, which is going to be black cabinets, but in a really awesome rustic, natural way that is going to be really beautiful. So
Sounds like what you described in that great room, kitchen area is like I would walk into one of the best lodges around the country.
Absolutely.
And I would feel like I just got done skiing and I could sit there with my boots up and just sit and enjoy the world.
We have another great space in this home as well. There's not a basement, but we do have a space that can encompass everything that you would put in a basement.
A family room.
yes,
a family room,
nice
a big
large
family
room where it has a wet bar to be able to have that entertaining space, which is also connected to the outdoor living and veranda area, which connects to the carriage house. So the flow of this home is absolutely perfect.
And the outdoor living here is going to be second to none. You know, we're going to match everything that we've done here at the Monaco in a different feel. We have all of these beautiful setting areas, verandas covering fireplaces, and it's really flowing very well from the house to that outdoor living into the carriage garage.
My favorite was I saw you had a garage door above the sink bar in that carriage house that connected to what is right here.
You could probably talk me into doing dishes in there.
I would say me too. You know what? We've run out of time though. Kayla, would you go ahead and close for us?
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do so well, please pick up the phone, give us a call, visit our website, or even better yet, come in. We'd love to talk to you about our new model at Simon Lake Estates.
This is getting exciting.
There we go,
Oh my gosh,
guys.
all
This
the
is
black
amazing.